guys, I hope you had a nice snack. I had one too, and I'm really enjoying this nice glass of water. This water is so good. You know what's really special about this water? This water might be the same water that a stegosaurus drank, or a T-Rex, or a woolly mammoth. Oh, I know, it sounds crazy. How could that be, Missy Egan, right? Well, I'll tell you. It's because water exists on Earth, on our wonderful planet Earth, in a cycle. And it goes around and around and around, and it changes what it looks like, but it's always here. Let me tell you how. Amazing water. Let me tell you the words you're going to hear first before I show you what they do. So in the water cycle, you're going to hear the words precipitation. Say it with me. Precipitation. You're going to hear collection. You're going to hear evaporation. And you're going to hear condensation. Okay? Precipitation, collection, evaporation, and along with evaporation is also the word transpiration. And finally, condensation. Okay, so let's start with collection. That's pretty easy, right? The collection of water, similar to this, is when the water is collected in places like a pond, an ocean, a river, a lake, a puddle. Water collects in the ground, right? That's where the trees get their water from, right? The plants and the soil is filled with water, and that is called collection. Well, what does the water do from there? Mr. Sun plays a very, very important role, because what happens is he heats up that water when it's collected. He heats it up all over the place. And do you know what happens when he heats it up? The water leaves. It goes up. It rises. It leaves the lakes and the oceans and the rivers. And it rises up into the sky. Now, it doesn't only leave there. It leaves from plants and trees too. And this is called evaporation. And when it leaves from plants and trees, it's called transpiration. So when that Mr. Sun, he plays a really big role in this. When he heats that water up, the water rises and it turns into a vapor. That's why we hear the word vape, right? Evaporation. You see it inside the word. Vapor. Right? Evaporation. The water turns into vapor. And transpiration, that water comes from plants, right? Just the way, you know, when you're running around outside at recess or with Miss Dean and Jim and you kind of get sweaty, you guys perspire, or perspiration, right? You sweat. Plants and trees, they do the same thing. The water leaves them too. And when the sun heats it up, it transpires and it goes into the sky. So that is when the water leaves and comes up into the sky. It's called evaporation or transpiration. But the water doesn't just stay in the sky. It warms up as it goes up into the sky, right? And as it stays in the sky, guess what? It cools off. And as it cools off, it forms into clouds. Sometimes the clouds are small, and they get a little bigger, and they compact. And that is called condensation. When the water droplets, when the vapor cools off, and it forms into kind of water droplets again. It forms into the water droplets again. But it still stays in the sky because the air can hold them for a while. These clouds get big and dark and thick. And guess what? The air cannot hold that water anymore. And it rains, or it snows, or it sleets, or it hails. And that is called precipitation. When the rain comes down. And when it comes down, it lands as snow on the top of mountains, or it lands in the rivers and the lakes, or it lands in the ocean, or it lands on the ground where it can feed the grass and feed the animals and feed the plants and trees. And when it's there again, it's collection. It's getting collected all over again. And then the sun starts to heat it up, and it transpires and evaporates again until it cools off and it becomes clouds again, and it's in condensation until there's too much that the air can't hold it anymore, and it's precipitation. And the cycle goes on and on and on. Science is so much fun. And water is amazing. Now, what I want to show you right now is what this amazing water, right? If say this is our collection of water, right? And right here, Miss Egan's handy dandy hot plate is Mr. Sun. And he's going to heat up this water. And what happens when collected water gets warmed up from the sun? It becomes vapor or steam, and it evaporates. If you look close, I think you'll be able to see this water turn into vapor right here. Let's see. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, here we go. It's coming. I thought it might sizzle for you. All right, we'll let it get nice and warm and review our water cycle one more time. So the water is in a collection. That's what it's doing right now. The water was in a collection, and it's getting warmed up. And if it was in a plant or a tree, it would be transpiration. If it's in the lake or the river, or even a puddle on the ground, it's evaporation, and it's going up into the sky where it's warmed up. And if it cools off and becomes a cloud, that's when it's called condensation. And the air can hold the water for a while. As it cools off, it becomes water again, and it cools off, and the air can hold it. But it can't hold too much of it. And when it gets too much, the air lets it go, and it's precipitation all over again, which can be snow, it can be rain, it can be hail, it can be sleet, it can be ice. Those are all different forms of water. And it falls back down to earth and into the streams and into the grass and into the plants, and it feeds the animals, and we get it too, where it collects all over again. Okay, I'm starting to see this water turn into vapor or turn into steam. Can you guys see it? If you ask really nicely, mommies and daddies might be able to show you this science experiment in the kitchen too. But you have to be wonderful listeners and listen to what they tell you, right? We know that this is very hot. All you need to do is see it. You should be able to see that steam rising. And that is science, my friends. If I get a better video of this, then I will send it your way. But I think you can see the vapor, the steam. Let's see if I add a little more water. I don't know. But we love science. We love seeing what we can. I'm going to send mom and dads another video where you can do your own science experiment at home, where you can make it a cloud in a jar, and you can make it look like how the rain falls and get a better chance to look at how the rain can go into the collection. Okay? Go have a glass of water that maybe you shared with the dinosaurs.